Hey, so I want to ask you a question. Does the light of Christ shine through you? That's a good question, right? I think that's a question that we need to ask ourselves. Does my faith shine through my words and my actions? Do I act like a follower of Christ? Do I speak like a follower of Christ? Now, I don't mean like thou and unto forth therewith or on, right? Anything that we think sounds like old time talk, right? But does Jesus shine through us by the way we act and by the way we talk? Does our life reflect Jesus? And I remember, like growing up, I went to church my whole life, right? I was all involved. I sang in the youth choir at my church. I was in my youth group. I was the president of my youth group, right? I went to Sunday school. I was like, I knew everything about all the Old Testament prophets and Moses and David and all the stories. I could recite you verbatim what the Bible said about all these guys. And I remember one time, my senior year, I was talking to one of my buddies, and I was like, "Hey, I'm in this musical at my church, and I'm the lead, and I'm singing, and blah blah." And I'm inviting him, and he goes, "Wait a minute, you go to church? I didn't even know you went to church." And when he said that, it stopped me in my tracks, and I was taken back. I'm like, how could you not know that I go to church? I mean, I go to church all the time. I'm always there. I'm always involved. And he's like, but I mean, you never mentioned it to me. You never talked about it. And as I look back on that conversation, I realized that I was doing all the things that, normal people do in their lives and everything. But the part that meant really the most in me, church, Jesus, God, wasn't coming out of me. There was sports, there was girls, there was school, there was whatever, but Jesus wasn't reflected in my words or my actions. And as I look back now, I start to realize that I went through many years of not really living what I believed. And so I ask that question of all of us today. Are we living a life that reflects Jesus? And if we aren't, what can we do differently? If we really believe what we believe, then those beliefs will come out of us. And if we want others to know how impressive and how awesome and how magnificent Jesus really is, then we should tell them about it. We should live lives that reflect the love and grace and mercy that Jesus has poured out on all of us, so that others may experience the same thing. May we continue to feel the blessings, the grace, and the mercy that God pours out on us every day. Amen. Amen.